Hello everyone, MSM and College Multihexa welcome you to our virtual student orientation session live. At College Multihexa, we bring the excitement of new knowledge to our students and the outcomes of our teaching and research to the world. The session will be taken by none other than our International Recruitment Manager, Alexander. Before we start, we would like to take you through the basic features of Zoom. There are multiple options available in your control panel. Please note that this is a webinar and your mic and videos will remain inactive during the session. However, you can put your mics and videos back to the own mode if you have any questions to ask during the end of this session. Any questions related to College Multihexa, you can put it up in the Q&A section. For any technical questions, put those in the chat box. If your questions are unanswered, do not worry, we will definitely be sending you an email. Handing over to Alexander for the quick introduction, followed by the information on the classes schedule and welcome guidebook for all the students.
Hi, good morning everyone from Canada. Good evening to you and good morning to some who are actually here in Canada already. Yeah, my name's Alexander. I am one of the teachers here at the college. I'm also in charge of the international student program as well. So you will be seeing a lot of me. You will have to get used to me because I will be teaching you as well as of next week. Obviously, equally, I'm here for any questions at all, you know, whether it's questions related to the classes themselves or obviously to your arrival here in Canada. I will be helping you out with all the kind of services you need when you get here, you know, accommodation, insurance, all those kinds of things. So I'm going to be here for that as well. So as I say, you're going to see quite a lot of me in the next few weeks and months. What we're going to do today is just run through some information with you, go through I produced a guidebook about the region. So I'm going to run through that quickly with you. I'm not going to go through it all in detail because there's quite a lot of pages, but I'll send you a copy of all of that. So that's a document that's going to be really helpful to you when you arrive here in Saguenay. I will go through the class schedules with you and eventually provide you with the document as well for your schedule between now and Christmas time. We will also go through, we'll give you a guided tour of the college. We have a 3D tour that we can give you. So I'll just give you a look at the campus, which you'll hopefully eventually come and see. And yeah, obviously at the end, you know, there's only a small group of us, so, you know, we'll open up the questions a bit later on and you know, feel free to ask us some questions, obviously related to everything that's coming up. You know, it's been a funny old year. We only managed, we have a few students here already in the region who've been studying now for a few months. They've got their final exam for one of their courses tomorrow, actually, so they're preparing for that. And, you know, I think they've settled into life here. It's obviously a big challenge moving abroad. You know, this year in particular with the COVID-19 situation, which has been very, very tough. So, you know, they had a fairly tough start to their life here in Saguenay. I've been doing my best to look after them, and I think they're very settled now. They've got work, they've got their studies, and they're, you know, they're a bit more used to life here in Canada. So, you know, you guys have got a fantastic experience waiting for you when you can eventually get here. We're really looking forward to welcoming you. We've got lots of organizations and lots of people here to help you with settling into life and finding your way around and, you know, learning the language. There's another little challenge ahead of you, which is learning some French. But don't worry, we've got some, you know, we've got classes arranged for you for the French when you get here eventually. So, but, you know, at least we've got this opportunity to get you started online until the world allows us to welcome you here onto the campus. So, you know, I'll show you some of the tools we'll use for the online teaching today as well. Your actual accounts will be set up. We actually use Office 365 for those who know what Office 365 is. That's what we use basically for each student. So you'll have your own account for that. With access to all of the Office tools like Microsoft Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Teams. Teams is the tool that we actually use for the online teaching. So I'm going to show you that quickly as well. What I might do is share my screen. Bhumika, please just stop me if I'm talking too much or whatever. Just let me know.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
You know how I tend to talk. So, all right, cool. I'll just share my screen then. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen. Obviously, if anyone has any technical problems or anything during this meeting, just maybe put a message up in the questions and answers, and you know, Bhumika or Nipa will help you out with that. You can see my screen, Bhumika, yeah?
Yes, it's properly visible. Please go
All
ahead.
right, perfect. Okay, guys, so I'm going in no particular order necessarily. So, you know, if you want to take some notes or just follow it as you wish. This is the welcome guide that I've been working on this year. As I say, it's quite a few pages, so I'm going to skip through it fairly quickly and then send it to you all individually so you can have a read through it. It's not so applicable to necessarily online. It's really a guide to actually kind of coming here to the region, but obviously, hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll be able to do that fairly soon. So I'll go through it quickly with you now. I say there's lots of points. Hopefully every kind of aspect of life here in Saguenay and traveling here and so on is covered in this. So it starts off with a little welcome note from the president of the college, who is here. You can see here smiling in the photo. That's Jacques Perron, who is the president of Multihexa. The college has been running for over 25 years now, and he's been in charge of that since the beginning. So he's a lovely guy. You know, he's very excited to welcome you all here. As I say, it's been a tough old year. We haven't had many people on the campus, so we're looking forward to getting some people back on the campus. Then, you know, a little introduction to the region, the college itself. As I say, we've been doing IT courses for 25 years now. That's what we specialize in. So, you know, I hope you're all looking forward to getting started and learning the world of IT. It's a lot of fun. There's lots to learn ahead of you, and obviously endless opportunities for jobs afterwards. So it's a really good choice of career. The college itself, you can see hopefully in the image here. Hang on, I'll zoom in a little bit further for you. That's the campus. It used to be the university, actually, here in Saguenay. It's now very much a hub for IT, for the IT industry in the region. So CGI, one of the biggest IT companies in the world, they have one of their head offices here. Nearly 1,000 employees now working there. Equally, we have our college campus here, and there are probably 9 or 10 other smaller IT businesses who work out of this particular building as well. This is great because we have great relationships with all of the other IT companies, so we work very closely with them. Lots of opportunities for you guys once you finished your courses to go and do your internship with one of these businesses. So they're right on the doorstep, which is excellent. So that's the outside of the campus. The other photo is the inside. Now, I'll show you the inside with the 3D tour in a little while, okay? So I won't go into that too much right now. The programs that we offer, obviously you guys are aware of that. There's information on the website as well if you have any questions more about what you've chosen to do. Obviously we do two main ones, network management or programmer analyst, which is officially called web and mobile application programmer. So if you ever see that, that's the same thing as programmer analyst. So yeah, I say you guys are obviously already pretty much aware of what you're going to be doing here, what you've chosen to do. Obviously, you're going to learn stacks of knowledge that's required for the IT market afterwards. College standards and guidelines. Now, this is something we'll probably go through a bit more next Wednesday when we do a kind of welcome day before the classes start. There's some college policies that we must run through with you. Policies that, you know, we have to adhere to for the Ministry of Education here in Quebec, the way that we teach you, the way that you have to be as a student, all of the policies that are in place if you have any situations, any issues. So we'll go through that a bit more in detail next week. This is a picture of the team. Everybody you can see here, this was taken at the beginning of the year. Everybody you see here is still here. The teachers, Mr. Perron himself, who's the president. So that's the team that you'll be seeing around the campus eventually when you get here. Really nice group of guys. So and Helen as well, who's lovely. She handles a lot of the administration here. So that's the team itself. Obviously some contact information there. You should all have my contact information now. I will also create us, I haven't done it yet, a WhatsApp group, and I'll put you all on there. So WhatsApp's a really good way to kind of talk. I'm having some problems with my phone at the moment, so that's actually why I haven't done it just yet, but I will get around to that. Orientation week, that's something we obviously do normally when the students are here on site. It's obviously something we haven't been able to do this year because of the situation. So Normally we'd have, you know, a few days where we'd get you all set up with things like your medical insurance and your bank accounts and that kind of thing. We'll do all that in a slightly different way when you eventually get here, but don't worry, all of those services will be provided for you. So the orientation week is something we look forward to doing properly when the situation kind of allows us to do it. So, all right, little section about the history and the geography of Canada. I'm not an expert on that. I don't actually, you know, I'm actually from England, as you might be able to tell from my accent. I've been here 16 years now. I now have my citizenship here as well in Canada. So I have a dual citizenship. So yeah, I gave you a little section in this document just to learn a little bit about the geography and the history of Canada. The weather is obviously an important factor. We've had a very nice summer. You guys are obviously, you know, very used to the heat and the hot weather from India. So we actually had a really nice summer. What you might not be so used to is the cold. Canada gets very, very cold in the winter. So that's part of the Canadian experience that you're going to be having when you get here, guys. It's fun. The snow is a lot of fun. The students who are already here are looking forward to learning to ski and snowboard and things like that this winter. So we're going to plan them some activities and get them involved in some of the winter activities. When you are thinking about eventually coming here, maybe do think about packing some warm clothes. But equally, we've got people here to help out with kind of secondhand winter coats and stuff like that. So, you know, we'll make sure you're all equipped because it's important to wrap up warm when it gets down to kind of -30 and -40. I don't want to scare you, but it does happen. So, but it's not like that all the way through the winter. Okay. So, yeah, the weather itself is obviously a big part of Canadian life. We're currently in the autumn, which is a beautiful season. All the trees change colors and the leaves, and it's really, really nice. So, but the winter's on its way. Yeah, a little bit more, you know, just generally about the society, the legal aspects of Canada itself, the rights that you have when you're coming here. You know, some of you, I hope, are thinking maybe of staying here long term, getting yourself a citizenship and so on. So those kind of factors you may be thinking about a little bit later on, but it's obviously important to understand them before you get here as well. So when I send you this, do read through all of that, the national holidays that we have here and so on. All right, nice section about life in Saguenay itself. Obviously, that's where you're going to be living. It's an absolutely beautiful place to live. As I say, I've been here 16 years. It's a very warm place in terms of the people, very welcoming, beautiful surroundings, national parks, a range of mountains, which are about 40 minutes away, rivers, lakes. It's really peaceful. It's a really safe place to live as well. It hasn't got quite the crazy rush of a big city, which I personally love. But, you know, lots going on, a great cultural scene, lots of activities to be done, you know, and a great outdoor life. If you enjoy the outdoor life, it's a beautiful place to be. So, yeah, this section gives you some information about what you'll find here in the region. I won't go through absolutely every detail. Lots of big industries here as well, which is great. So, you know, it's a very big economy that runs here. Aluminium is a huge industry, hydroelectricity, the timber wood industry is very, very big here in Canada and this part of the region as well. You know, and again, looking at your future jobs and so on, these businesses all have their, you know, huge IT networks that need running. So there's great opportunities for work with these kind of industries as well. Some of the cultural events that take place here, we have film festivals, we have music festivals, we have a wine festival, we have, you know, all sorts of things. There's some fantastic shows that talk about the history of the region itself. Again, it's been a bit quieter this year, but, you know, unfortunately we've had to live with that situation. So, you know, some good information, some good websites as well. If you're interested to learn more, do click on one of these websites and you'll learn lots to learn about the region. Preparing for your arrival, you know, guys, obviously this is the kind of the gray area at the moment. When can we eventually come to Canada? Fingers crossed it's going to be soon. When you do start thinking about this, do have a read of this section, please. It's really going to help you. As I mentioned just a minute ago, some winter clothes would be an excellent idea. But, you know, obviously there's lots of shops here for buying that kind of thing. But, you know, if you've got some bits already, that's going to really help, depending on when you get here as well, right? So, and there's some good, you know, thrift shops and so on that provide these kind of items. Obviously, documents is a really important section to think about. Make sure you've got absolutely everything you need before you leave. Copies of everything. Leave copies with somebody else, a family member or something, in case you lose anything on the way. That's a really important thing to think about. any kind of pieces of identity that would help you in the future here when you're applying for whatever it might be, a bank account or something, are important. Travel insurance is important, that you've got something when you initially get here. Please make sure you think about that. It's a legal requirement of people coming to Canada, students, that they must have some kind of insurance, medical insurance. What I recommend to you guys is to have some travel insurance for maybe the first month or two. Probably 2 is a good idea. What we will then do, we have a full medical insurance policy here at the college, which all the students are using. So we will then put you onto that policy. And then you will be fully covered for your time here. Okay, so it is a legal requirement, but make sure you've got something when you first get here, because if you step out of the airplane and you fall over and you break your leg, you're going to want to have some travel insurance. All right, so obviously let's hope that doesn't happen, but make sure you've got the coverage before you get here. Okay. In terms of packing, you know, just check your restrictions with your airline companies, that kind of thing. Make sure you're not packing too much stuff. Make sure your bags aren't too heavy. Think about things like electrical equipment. Obviously, there's a difference in voltage between North America and the rest of the world. So that's an important fact to think about. You know, careful of any fragile items, all that kind of thing. So think about that carefully when you're packing. Again, I've put a link to the Canadian Border Services Agency here that will tell you exactly what you can and can't bring into the country. People sometimes like to bring food that they like from home, but you have to be aware that it might not actually get across the border. So to save with any troubles when you get here, consult this particular website here, all right? It will really help you out when you're planning. Like I mentioned here, make a checklist a couple of weeks before you leave. Tick things off, like this big list of documents and so on, and make sure you've got everything. Contact me if you have any questions. I'll obviously help you out. And there's some really good websites here that'll help you when you're planning. Accommodation is obviously a big factor. Again, when you get here, we've got a great agency that we work with, which help find student accommodation. So once you've got your dates of arrival, obviously we'll speak together and we'll plan out, and we'll try and put, you know, a few students all together in the same place. So you've got some familiar faces around you and you get to know some of your fellow students. But we've got people to help out with that. All right. So what I don't recommend is, don't start looking for accommodation yourselves. All right. Come to me. I'll go to my agency and they'll help you out, because they speak with the, you know, the good landlords who are used to handling international students. So I very much recommend coming through me for your accommodation. All right. If you do it yourself, you might not know exactly where you're going to end up, if the landlord's a good, friendly landlord or not. So we've got someone who's going to help with that. You know, generally the rooms are going to be either individual rooms or shared rooms. You know, most things are included in the prices, things like the important things like heating, electricity, furnishing and internet. Those things generally come included in the prices, and you're going to be looking $350, $400 maybe a month. Okay. But as I say, you've got all those factors included. So it's actually very reasonable. Medical insurance I've obviously just talked about, so make sure you've got something when you get here. But once you're here, as long as you're covered for maybe, I would say, the first 2 months, we'll put you on our medical insurance and then you'll be absolutely fine. Banking, banking's been an issue a little bit with some of the students that already got here. Those with ICICI, is that right? Yeah, ICICI. There aren't any branches at all of ICICI here in Quebec, at all in the province. There are some spread out in other parts of Canada, but the problem sometimes is if you actually need to get to your local bank, you don't have access to that. What the students are doing who've come here, a couple of them were with ICICI. They've taken a bank account with HSBC, which is obviously a well-known bank. I'm sure you've heard of it. Equally, some with Scotiabank's not too bad. We don't have a branch here in Saguenay. We do have one in Quebec City, which is 2 hours away, so it's not too bad. Obviously, all banking these days can be done online, right? So in a sense, it doesn't matter too much if you can't physically get to your local branch. But ICICI is a bit of an issue bank for us just because we don't have one here in the province. So if that's the case and you've got your student money already with ICICI, it's not the end of the world, but we'll probably set you up with a different account once you get here. I'll help you out with that, no problem. Okay, so arrival at the airport. Hopefully this has already been mentioned to you, but what the ideal thing is, if people can get their travel all the way through to the airport here in Saguenay, that helps us a great deal. Montreal is 5 hours drive away. In emergency situations or whatever it might be, it's not impossible to go and get you at Montreal. I don't want you to worry if that is the case, but if possible, please do get that extra flight to Saguenay. That makes life a lot easier for everybody, okay? And then we'll obviously be there waiting for you to pick you up, all right? And obviously make sure once you start booking your flights, please give the information to the team in India and get me the information as quickly as possible so we can plan picking everybody up. Make sure we know what times you're traveling so we can obviously follow your flights and so on. In terms of any delays or cancellations or anything like that, obviously you just need to get in touch with us and we'll make the necessary arrangements for you. So don't worry about that. Accommodation, I've just mentioned. Transportation in the region itself is basically buses. The bus service is excellent. It runs all across Sangni itself and some of the other local towns. And there are buses that run to Quebec City and Montreal if you want to go and visit those places. So we've got a very good transportation system here. The other nice thing about the region is because it's not a massive big city, it's very possible to walk to places as well. So obviously when it's very cold outside, you might not want to walk. I understand that, but it's, everything's nice and close here, which is great. So we get you set up with your bus passes here. Don't worry. Again, that's something I take care of for you. There's a very good application you can put on your phone, which will give you all the bus times, where you need to be, which bus stop you need to be waiting at, that kind of thing. So we'll get you set up with that as well when you get here. Services and local contacts. This information is good. You don't necessarily need to learn it all by heart before you get here, but it's a good document that you'll have with you all the time, just telling you about, police, medical services, that kind of thing. The hospitals, getting a doctor's appointment, that kind of thing. So there's some good information there. Immigration integration services. Obviously, that's an important thing for you guys when you get here. I'm in contact with all of the kind of agents for these services. So again, the best thing to do is come to me if you have a question about immigration. One of the students who got here in March, when they arrived at the airport, the agent who stamped their student visa actually put the wrong date on it. So we had to go through immigration and get them a new copy of that. That's the kind of thing that I'm here to help you out with. So don't worry about any of those kinds of issues. Banking, obviously, I've mentioned a little bit. Obviously, we have things like Western Union here. I think you guys probably know what that is. That's a way of transferring money. If your parents have to transfer you money, that's obviously another option. So that's no problem to do that here. Shopping itself, I won't go through it too quickly, but there's some information about, the grocery stores and computer shops and things like that. So, we'll help you all out with that. What we generally do when you first get here, I will take you to the grocery store for the first time, show you around, so you know what you're doing and where to find everything and so on. And equally, the good thing is we've got some students here. They're going to help me out a little bit. They're going to be my assistants a little bit when you get here to help you, understand how things work a little bit around the town. So, and some of the other information, things like gyms and stuff like that, I just put that information in different parks that you can go walking in and stuff like that. All season long, if you want to go for a walk in the snow, obviously you can go and do that. Restaurants, nightlife, that kind of thing. There's some information there. Employment itself in the town, there's lots of job opportunities here. You'll have the opportunity to work 20 hours a week, which is obviously going to be important to you to have some money to pay your accommodation and the other expenses you have in your life. My students who are here now, they're currently working in a factory and they seem to be really enjoying themselves doing that, which is great. I've got lots of contacts for all kinds of things. So factories, restaurants, hotels, lots of possibilities for when you get here, guys. So, again, we'll help you out. I'll actually create you a resume that you can use once you get here, obviously, to apply for jobs and stuff. So, we've got all those services waiting for you as well. As I say, curriculum vitae, resume, that part I will obviously help you out with as well. The French courses is going to be an important fact for you. The cool thing about those is the government of Quebec offer those free of charge. You do about 12 hours a week of French classes. The students who are here have already started them. They couldn't do them for a few months because of COVID-19, but now they've started them up again, which is great. So they're starting to learn their French a bit better now, which is cool. They're not only offered free, you do actually get an allocation of $15 for each day that you do. So it works out to $60 a week, or $45 to $60 a week that you get paid to do the classes. So it's win-win, right? You get paid to do them and it's a little bit of extra money in your pocket, which is good. So don't stress about that. French is, I learned my French when I came here. Yeah, it's not an easy language to learn. I mean, Hindi isn't probably an easy language to learn. I'm trying to learn some words in that. You guys can teach me some when you get here. But French is there's some challenges to learning it, I'll be honest, but it's fun. And the good thing about the region here, you're going to be immersed in the language and you'll pick it up. Don't worry at all. We've got lots of resources here at the college who speak English as well. And some of them who speak only a little bit of English and they want to practice their English. So don't worry about the language when you first get here. You'll be able to get by with some English and we'll get you started on your French classes quickly. So please don't worry about that. Activities, we have college activities themselves. We had a golf tournament this summer. We were actually able to do that, which was cool because it was obviously outdoors. So we just went and played a little pitch and putt thing with all the students, which was really fun. It was a really nice day. So that's the kind of thing we try and do with the students. Sometimes we get everyone together for a night of video gaming or, you know, go and play some pool or something like that. So we've got some activities here at the college, which are fun. And then obviously in terms of the region itself, there are endless possibilities for activities, winter or summer. So I've just given you a nice list of some of the traditional Canadian winter sports, if you like. Ice hockey is obviously the popular sport here. You guys might be more cricket. I mean, I love cricket coming from England as well, cricket and football and stuff like that. So we can talk about that together. But if you want to get interested in the Canadian activities, there's ice hockey, there's dog sledding, skiing, snowboarding, ice fishing, snowmobiling, ice skating, you know, snowshoeing. There's endless stuff to do in the winter. It's lots of fun. So, and it's important to get outside and enjoy it at the same time. Summer activities, again, for those who like water sports, you can go canoeing and things like that. Camping is obviously very traditional Canadian activity, building a campfire. There's lots of opportunity to do those kinds of things. So, yeah, there's some really good links here, guys. I'm going to say, once I send you this, if you've got some time, you're sitting at home one evening, you want to learn a little bit more, do have a look at some of these websites. Anyone who plays golf, there's lots of nice golf courses here, parks, you know, wildlife to go and see. There's whale watching. There's a beautiful place where all the whales tend to come through. You can go and see that. So that's really, really nice as well. Section on useful things to know. This is an important one. I definitely like you all to take the time to read that. Things like mobile phones. You'll obviously probably be bringing your own mobile phone with you. Again, I'll be there to help you out, getting you a SIM card that you need here. Generally, what the students are doing is buying a SIM card and obviously paying as they go with their mobile phones here. Do be careful. I know when I did a kind of some research on this, data plans in Canada are quite expensive. In North America are quite expensive. I think India is the cheapest country in the world for data plans, just to give you an idea. So you guys use maybe 50, 60 gigabytes of data every month, and that's no problem. Here in Canada, you'll find it's a lot more expensive. So key things are to remember to obviously use Wi-Fi at all opportunities. So you're not using your own data plan, and just be careful with what you're doing with your mobile phone when you get here. But again, I'll be here to help you out with that. There's some useful tips about things like power supplies. Obviously, I do mention there's different voltage here compared to India and the rest of the world, in fact. So just be careful of those kinds of things, different adapters you might need when you come here. You know, just some other general stuff about, you know, politeness and being on time and tipping in restaurants and tax, you know, how tax works here, sales tax on things. So there's some information for you, how to balance your life a little bit when you get here as a student. Canadian money itself, familiarizing yourself with that. Yeah, little section at the end just about, you know, make sure when you get here, you know, you use the resources, use me. I'm here. I'm very happy to help you out with all sorts of things. So yeah, that's kind of the welcome guide. I'm going to send it to you. Take your time to have a read through it. Certainly when you're planning, you know, and you're packing and you're booking your flight tickets and stuff like that. Do have a read through. It's going to give you some really useful information as you prepare to come here. All right. So that's that particular document. As I say, once, you know, between now and kind of next week, each of you will get an individual email containing that. So you'll be able to read through it at your leisure. Bhumika, anything you want to say at this point, or should I just keep going?
I think this is all good to go. And yeah, we should tell the students about the schedules that we have in place for their online
classes.
Sure,
no problem. Yeah. All right, I'll move on to that. Hang on. All right, so this is, guys, it's not 100% complete. I've just got to make a couple of last changes to it, but this is basically the kind of schedule that you're going to get, all right? So this is for, like, for example, it's still in French at the top there, so I'm going to put it in English, don't worry. But you'll get a version of this sent to you, okay? This is basically starting next week, okay? So the 14th that you see here is next Wednesday. All right, what we're going to do now, one factor that I'm very aware of, guys, is obviously that you're going to be following the classes based on the timings of Montreal. Yeah, so it's going to be tough for you guys. You're going to start classes at kind of 6 in the evening, and possibly be running through to 1, 2 in the morning. All right, and we appreciate that, and I know it's not ideal for you. Okay, and we appreciate that you're going to make that effort. We're going to make as many efforts on our side to try not to have you staying up too late every single night. All right, so because we want you to get your sleep and be refreshed for the next day. So the classes are generally going to start around 8:30 in the morning Canadian time, which is 6 in the evening for you guys. Normally what happens here at the college is we go 8:30 to 11:30. There's an hour and a half, which is normally taken for lunch. And then we start again at 1 in the afternoon till about 4 in the afternoon. Now, if we go all the way to 4 in the afternoon, that is 1:30 in the morning for you guys. All right. So that's pretty late. So what myself and the other teacher are going to do, we're going to cut our lunch breaks down to just for 30 minutes. So we're going to go 8:30 to 11:30 and probably then start again at 12. All right. So that's going to give you, and 12 till hopefully around 3:30. So it means you won't be going to bed quite so late. All right. So we're going to try and help you out like that. Next week on the 14th, we're going to have a welcome day. That's when I'm going to go through some of these college policies with you. And just a few other important bits of information. I've scheduled it for the morning and the afternoon, but I'm thinking, to be quite honest, it's only going to take me the morning to go through that with you. So if that's the case, the good thing is on the Wednesday, we'll only have a half day. All right. So, 6 till 9 for you guys in the evening, and then you'll be done. All right. On the Thursday, the 15th, I've scheduled in something I've called General IT. Now, what I'm going to do with you there, guys, is just run through some of the tools that you're going to be using throughout your time at the college and in the future in your careers, right? So I'm going to go through, how to use things like the File Explorer, how to create and copy paste things. I know some of it you guys might be absolutely fine doing, but believe me, some people aren't always familiar with those things. So I'll just go through some of the tools, things like Microsoft Word, the use of how you can use, how to at least have a basic understanding of Word and Excel and those kinds of tools. So that's what we're going to do on the Thursday. Now, again, probably only going to take the morning. So again, probably only a half day to get you started off there. Then on the Friday, the 16th, that's when you'll have your first official class starting. All right. The first one you guys are starting off with is maths. Okay. So I hope you all enjoy learning some maths. It might seem a bit strange that we're doing that, but it's not a whole in-depth maths course. There are 3 major concepts that we look at, which are very important when related to information technology. Binary numbers, that kind of thing. You'll see why it's very important to understand whether you're going to be a network manager, whether you're going to be a programmer. Some of the maths concepts that we're going to teach you are very important. So that's how we're going to start off. So on the Friday, it will be a full day of class. So morning and afternoon. So that's M14, it's called, is the maths class. The week after that, you will have, again, we'll carry on with maths on the Wednesday and the Thursday. And then on the Friday of the following week, you'll start another class, which is programming, which is Introduction to Programming, which is with another teacher, Danny, who's a lovely guy. I'll try and get him to jump on with us maybe on the welcome day next week so he can introduce himself. He's great. So he's going to be doing the programming course with you. And then basically what you see, we alternate each week. Some weeks you'll have 2 classes of programming, 1 of maths. The next week it might be 2 of maths and 1 of programming. We alternate like that between now and Christmas time. All right. The week of the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th of November, you have your midway exam for both of those classes. All right. So maths and programming. So it's a bit of a lighter week in a sense, because you've just got an exam in the morning. Obviously, we're going to schedule any exams that you have in the mornings. Okay, guys. So you'll have your exam 6 to 9, not kind of 10 till 1 in the morning. All right. So that's going to be done for you as well. And then obviously we carry on the same way up until Christmas, when you've got your final exams here in this particular week here. And then obviously it's the week of Christmas. We take a couple of weeks break, and then we come back at the beginning of next year with 2 brand new classes for you. All right. So that's kind of a quick look at the schedule. Again, don't worry, this document you will have once I've finished putting the things in English that should be in English. And I will send this to you as well, so you have a good idea of what's going to be coming up between now and Christmas time. So yeah, it's generally going to be 2 to 3 days a week, which is obviously what you're going to be doing when you get here to the campus anyway. All right. So the idea of that is, I'll give you an example, is the students who are here now, they are working a full day Monday, full day Tuesday. and they work generally a half day on the Wednesday. And, you know, that's what we're going to fit you guys into as well. So that's going to give you those days free to get yourself a part-time job. It gives you the weekend free as well. Obviously, depending on what kind of job you find, guys, you might find that, sorry, if you get a job in a hotel or something like that, you might find you have to work the weekends, all right? So you have to be prepared that, you know, you might have a slightly different working schedule to some of the other students, but we're going to try and keep your classes always on the same 3 days of the week. And then obviously you can plan the rest of your life out around that, okay? So that's the schedule. That's the 2 classes you start with. So I say maths and programming are the first 2 that you start with. And then obviously what you're doing, you're linking up with the students who are already here on campus. So they've got their final exam for their second course tomorrow. So they already have 2 classes complete. So these are 2 new classes for them as well. The ones they've already completed, you will be then catching them up at the beginning of next year. Don't worry, all right? So that's me who's going to be doing that next year with you guys. So later on this year, I'll plan the schedule for January, February next year, and obviously you'll have that in advance, okay? So that's the schedule. Just to give you a quick look at what we actually use, guys. Hang on a second. Right. This is Office 365. Those who aren't familiar with Office 365, I'm sure you're all familiar with Microsoft Office. Throughout the years, it was generally offered as a software package that you would have on a CD-ROM or something like that you install on your computer. Obviously, for quite a few years now, Office, just as everyone else does nowadays, they use what's called the cloud. So Office 365 is Microsoft's cloud service, giving you access to all of the tools that they have. So you've got access, and you will have an account for this. So you will have access to Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all those kind of tools. You can obviously work on documents in the cloud. You can actually download Word onto your local computer as well and use it. You will have access to it. You will obviously need those tools throughout your time here for creating documents, things like that. And the tool that we actually use, which is part of the Microsoft Office suite of programs, is Teams. All right, this is Microsoft Teams. This is a great tool for teaching. These are some of the different classes that we've got running at the moment at the college. So you can see some of the different classes here, some in French, some in English. Obviously, if it's in English, it's international that you see. So, for example, if I show you S14 International, which is a class that the students here have already completed, you will have access to this console yourself. You will see the different posts. You know, we can obviously chat amongst ourselves during the classes, and this is how I will actually turn on a video and obviously show you the class each day using this particular tool. Equally, in there you have all the files that we use throughout this particular course, so you will have access to all of these. So each day is broken up into course 1, course 2, course 3, etc. And in here, obviously, I put all the different material that we use each day in class. Okay, you can then download them to your local computer if you want to, or you can just open them up and read them directly in Teams. Most things are either put into PowerPoints, PDFs, that kind of thing. All right, so that's the tool that we use. It's great. We find it works very well for us at the moment. We are slowly migrating to a different system, which won't be available until, I'm going to say, March of next year. We're working hard on it at the moment when we have the time. But for the moment, this is what we use. It's great. It works very well. So when your accounts are created tomorrow, what you will receive from the college is an email saying, this is your access to Microsoft Office 365. So you will just need to go and log in. We will obviously give you a username and a password, and then you will have access to all of these consoles. Okay. So for next week, when we meet up on Wednesday, what I might do is schedule a meeting in Teams itself. And obviously then, you know, you can make sure you can log in properly and everything like that. All right. So that's Teams. That's what we're going to be using. You know, I'd say there's a couple of international programs that have already been completed. Obviously, next week's programs that we're starting off will appear here in the next few days when I'm actually completely ready to go. So that's the tool that we use at the moment. Sometimes we use Zoom as well. You might find that Danny might do his classes in Zoom using Teams, but Zoom is kind of integrated into Teams as well. So don't be surprised. Sometimes he might do his classes in Zoom. I tend to use use Teams directly. All right. So those are the 2 kind of tools that we'll be using for our meetings and our classes. Okay. What else? So I say that's the Office 365 console. Obviously, I'm kind of an administrator, so I've probably got more options than you guys will have when you're using it. Yeah, you'll get a link for that probably by the end of the day tomorrow. Okay, so maybe not the end of your day, the end of our day, but anyway, you should find it in your inbox at the weekend. So All right. I keep going, Bhumika? Should I do
Yeah,
the 3D tour?
if you have more things to share with the students, I would suggest that please keep going.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys. So next thing I want to show you is the website itself. Do take the time to go and look. There's a nice, if you log into the website itself, multihexa.ca. Right. So this is the website itself. You can obviously switch it to English or French, but there's an international students section here. All right. So again, take the time to go and have a look at that if you're interested. There's some good information in there. Obviously, in a sense, my document that I'll send you is kind of much more detailed information. So you'll have both of those possibilities for you. But there's obviously some information about the courses. There's some photos about the region. There's some information about student services, that kind of thing. So what there is here is a really nice, that's again is we've sent a drone up into the sky and took a nice picture of the campus itself. You can see the beautiful surroundings around the college as well. As I say, this personally is why I think it's a great place to come and live and study, guys. Don't get me wrong, it's not quite as crazy and action-packed as a big city, but there's lots going on. But there's also just a really nice peaceful life here as well, which is good. So it's a good place to come and study. You won't have too many distractions, and lots to do outside and lots of fresh air, which is good. So so that's the campus again. And then what we've actually got is this 3D tour that we did. So I'll just show you that quickly, guys. Some of you might have seen it before, actually. I'm not sure in a webinar, but I'll put that on full screen. So this is the campus itself, guys. This is the welcome desk here, where you will find Helen, who is normally working there. So I'm just going to run you through into one of the classrooms. All right, so this is one of the classrooms. The nice thing here, guys, is it's small classroom sizes. We think this is a major advantage for students here. You've got a nice kind of close contact with your teacher, right? So as opposed to being, 50, 100 in the same classroom, it's smaller groups. It's great for being close with your teacher and if you've got questions and stuff like that. So yeah, this is one of the classrooms where you guys will be eventually sitting. I look forward to having you here, obviously, in class. Obviously then at that point, we're going to be teaching you properly in class, using the whiteboard, using the projector, that kind of thing. So for the moment, it's slightly different, obviously, using online. As you can see behind me, I do actually have a whiteboard. This is one of the advantages of my office. I've got a whiteboard in my office, so I will definitely be using that tool. I've got a nice brand new webcam coming, a very nice high definition webcam in the post, which it's going to help me kind of show you stuff on the board behind me. So, all right, into the college itself. Hang on a second. So yeah, so this is the welcome area here. And this is kind of the administrative part of the college. Now, over here on the left with the plant that you can see here, that is my office. That's where I'm sitting right now. So that is where you can come and find me when you eventually get here. Obviously, with any questions, come and knock on the door. You're always welcome. On the right-hand side here, this is the office of Hugo, who is the college director. And then next to that is the office of Jacques himself, the president. And so we're always very welcome to come and knock on the door. Helen as well. Helen doesn't speak a lot of English, but we're trying to get her to practice, so you can come and help her practice their English as well. This in here is the teacher's office itself. Now, obviously, I understand some of the teachers are working from home at the moment with the situation, but quite a few days they come here as well. So this is the teacher office. This is Danny's desk here. Danny is the other teacher you will meet and you'll be learning with throughout your time. So that's normally where he's sitting. Equally, you've got our network here. So this is something we'll come and show you, get you used to a little bit the kind of network setup that you're going to see in businesses. Obviously, ours is on a smaller scale. A big business is going to have a huge server room packed with equipment and stuff like that. But this will give you a good introduction to that kind of setup as well. We are currently working on a lot of updates on our infrastructure as well, which is going to be cool. It's cool for us here because it's a fun project for us to get involved in. The teachers are going to be putting everything in place. But equally, you guys are going to hopefully arrive when we're kind of putting some of these new systems in place. So we'll have the opportunity to show you some of that stuff, which is great. So it'll be some good demonstrations of putting equipment in place and getting everything set up and running properly. This desk here is Regis. It always looks completely chaotic. Don't worry. He has his own system, so we don't tell him to tidy it up too much. And then coming through here a little bit further into the campus, basically on the left and right as we go down this corridor, there are some of the classrooms that we use and some of the laboratories that we use as well. This room, it tends to be a lab where we will come and sit down and take computers to pieces physically. Obviously, we want you to understand how to take one to pieces and put it back together again and make sure it's still working. On the left-hand side here, in this room here, as you can see, it's packed with equipment. Some is older than others, I will be honest. But again, this is the kind of lab that you guys will use to prepare and understand the physical workings and components of a computer. And then a bit further on, we have, if I get there eventually, all right, we have one of the classrooms. This is kind of one of the initial classrooms we'll probably use for you guys. It's obviously slightly bigger than the first one that we saw. Obviously, everybody kind of starts off in the same courses initially before you split off into your chosen program. So obviously, we put you all together initially. So this is one of the classrooms you guys will be using when you get to the campus, obviously. Same thing over here. As I say, most of the domestic students we've got at the moment, pretty much everyone's online at the moment. So we haven't got many people on site. So we're looking forward to welcoming some people here very soon. That gives you a nice idea of the classrooms. And then obviously a bit further on, there's obviously a cloakroom here for coats. There's some lockers that you guys can use when you get here if you wish to do so each day when you come to the campus. And then there's a kind of restroom where you can come and have your lunch and take a break and stuff during the day. Obviously, when we're kind of working on the normal college schedule, as I say, you do get quite a nice long lunch break. So depending on where you're living, I mean, there's a lot of accommodation right close to the college itself. So if you're living close, you can always walk home and have your lunch if you want to. But you can come and sit in here and relax as well. So, you know, I say that's the campus. It's, you know, it's nice to say it's not too big and there's never, you know, thousands of people here. So you get the chance to know your fellow students and your teachers and so on, and obviously meet some of the domestic students who will be here as well, which is fun. So that is the 3D tour. So yeah, that's, again, guys, that's on the website. You guys are welcome to go and have a look at that. And as I say, you've got some other nice information itself about the college itself on the website. So again, do take the time to have a look at that and familiarize yourself with everything that's going on. I don't know what else to say right now. That's covered quite a lot of the points. I hope that's helped, guys. I hope that's given you an idea of what's ahead of you. As I say, obviously knowing exactly when you're going to get here, depending on all the, I received yesterday a huge amount of information from Immigration Canada, from the federal agencies, from the provincial agencies about some of the changes that are coming up. So some of it sounds very positive. I've got to go through it all because there's always some gray areas depending on what point you got your visa and stuff like that, because obviously the visas are being done on a different basis at the moment as well. Biometric offices aren't open. There's lots of factors to think about. So, but we're going to go through it all, and fingers crossed, you know, you guys might well be able to book a flight soon and come and join us here. But until then, obviously, we've got all the tools that we need to connect you up online. Thank you, everyone, for sending me your information about your computers. Generally, everyone should be fine. Some of you are still running Windows 7 on your computers. Now, it's not the end of the world. The only thing I will say to you is this: Windows 7 isn't supported anymore by Microsoft. So it's, what that means is they're not sending out kind of security updates and stuff for Windows 7 anymore. So it does leave you at risk for malware and other kinds of like dangers that are out there on the internet. So I do recommend anyone who's still running Windows 7 to please go and upgrade to Windows 10. Obviously, we're not teaching Windows 7 anymore either. I mean, it's still out there, don't get me wrong. People are still using it. But in the ideal world, if you can get Windows 10 set up on your computers, that's definitely something I recommend to you, because one of the courses you'll do here is Windows 10 as well. But yeah, as long as I say you've got your webcams, guys, you know, we do ask always that students have their webcams on during classes. It's nice to see your faces. The cool thing about some of the tools that we use, like Teams, for example, is the option, you have an option to click on raise your hand. So it's like as if you were in class. So, you know, you can click on that if you have a question while we're teaching you stuff. You know, obviously headphones if you're at home. I don't know if you're all maybe living at home with your families and stuff like that. It might be a bit easier to have headphones on, and your microphone obviously working. I know most of you don't have a second screen. That's not the end of the world, guys. Now, obviously, if for whatever happens, if you find you're going to be still having to study online for 6 months, it might be an idea to think about buying, borrowing a second screen and plugging it in. The advantage of two screens is you can follow the teacher talking on one screen. Then on your second screen, you can actually do the exercises in class and stuff like that. So there is a really nice advantage to that. So it's something I recommend a great deal. If you're only going to be online for maybe a month or so, don't worry about it. But if the situation changes again, which it does quite regularly, and you're going to be maybe 6 months, it's something I would consider. All right. An LCD screen doesn't cost that much. I have no idea how much it costs in India, but they're pretty cheap these days if you just need to get a basic one. So anyway, it's not a major concern, but just do think about that. As long as everyone, once you've got your accounts, we'll do some tests to make sure you can all log into Teams properly. Obviously, we're on Zoom today, so assuming that everyone is there who should be, Zoom is a great tool to use as well. It's nice and easy to use as well. So yeah, we'll go forward online to get started off, and then fingers crossed we'll have you all here on site very soon. Bhumika, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go and grab a glass of water, okay? Because I've been
yes,
talking.
Please. You've been speaking.
I've been talking non-stop for 45 minutes.
Yeah, please go ahead and have your water.
Minutes,
Yeah.
right?
I'll speak to the students meanwhile.
Yeah, talk to them, and I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, if you have any questions, please make sure to ask the questions, because you will be starting your classes online, and it's not ideal if you have any issues coming in your way with your online classes and you do not resolve them, because that way you'll be missing out the classes or the information taught in the classes. It's not going to be ideal. So please make sure to ask whatever questions you have from your teachers, Alex, and whoever will be teaching you from the campus, right? Show me a thumbs up. Okay, great. Let Alex come back, and then whatever questions you'll be having right now, we'll discuss those questions so that you have more clarity on what's going to happen from next week onwards. Definitely, you'll be given the schedule for the classes, like Alex just mentioned. So you'll know what time you're going to have your classes. Probably in the evening or later in the night, so that you can manage your dinner and stuff accordingly. So I would suggest that you start having dinner early this time, which is actually an ideal thing to have. Ayurveda says that we should have dinner before sunsets. So I think you're going to have a good schedule for that as well. So yeah. Okay, so you had a campus tour, and now you know how things are going to go when you're actually going to reach campus. Things are going to be more amazing when you're going to reach on campus. We have some good news coming in from the Government of Canada. I'm not sure about this, but hopefully you'll be able to reach Canada before January. Let's hope for the best, but we'll see what happens next. Till then, we'll keep up with the online classes and make sure to ask whatever questions you have while your classes.
Bhumika, is everybody there, or I think maybe we're missing just one person? Is that possible?
We do not have Sagar in the class right now. Yeah. I did drop him a message, but then I don't know, his internet seems off, so my message was not able to reach him. He did mention that he registered, but I don't know how come he missed this part. Okay. I'll speak to him.
All right, no problem. Well, I can always go through it all with him at another point. So.
Okay, so guys, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and let me know. You can even put your question in the Q&A section, well, if you'd like.
Yeah, don't be shy, guys. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask them. So.
Or you can even raise a hand. There's a raise a hand option. Oh, no, we do not have that right now. I don't know if it's still popping on your side, but it's not on my side.
It might not be actually, no.
Neepa, can the students unmute themselves?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so have you guys got any questions, guys? Or is everything all clear?
I do have one question.
Yeah, Rituja, please go
ahead. Hi. So I was wondering, so what's like the grade accumulation? So for midterm, is it like 20% of the grade or like 50%?
All right, that's a good question. Okay, well, for example, each course is different, okay? Because what we tend to do, some of the courses will have a midway exam and a final exam, and there's normally 1 or 2 homeworks as well that we ask you to do. The percentage of that, the breakdown generally, for example, the class that I'm giving to my students at the moment, they've got their final exam tomorrow. The midway exam was worth 40%. the final exam is worth 40%, and the homework that they've had a few weeks to do is worth 20%. All right, so that's the example of one class, but it's not always the same. Some of them vary. That one's only got one homework in it. Some classes, for example, have two homeworks in, which are sometimes worth 10% and 10%. But yeah, each course tends to be different in exactly how it works. What we do at the beginning of each one, we present you with a class plan. So the plan details each day the particular subject we're going to be talking about. In fact, if you give me a second, I'll just try and find you one and show you it. T14. Okay, yeah, good. That's all right. Right, if you want, guys, hang on. I'll just show you my screen again. Right. If everyone can see my screen, this is the course plan for the class, which is called T14, all right? So it's the Introduction to the Profession and Computer Components. So this particular class, as I say, which is coming to its end tomorrow with the final exam, is all about the kind of physical components of the computer, the hard drive, the RAM, etc., the motherboard. So this one, what we do is we detail who's the teacher. In this case, it was me. We talk about how it's kind of broken down. So there's 30 hours of theory, 30 hours of labs and exercises. That isn't set in stone, all right? So it might be 35, 25, you know, but that's roughly what you're going to be looking at. Online, I'll be honest, this class is it's not more of a challenge, but it unfortunately ends up being quite a lot more theory because it's physical components. And normally if you're here in class, this one's going to be starting next year for you guys. So I'm hoping you'll be here by then. Because the good thing about it is you can actually hold a motherboard and take a computer to pieces and stuff like that. But because we can't do all that online, it tends to be a bit more theory-based, this one. Then what we do is we tell you about the different competencies and skills that you will be learning and hopefully have at the end of this particular course itself. So that's detailed at the beginning of the document. And then if I go down, this is the actual course plan itself. So we break it up into periods of 3 hours. Now, obviously, as I've told you, normally you'll have 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon. So that's how we break it all down. So, for example, on this particular day, on period 4, we'll be talking about external connectors. Then we're talking about CPUs and RAM and stuff like that, all the way through to the end. And then obviously you can see that's kind of the halfway point where you have your midway exam. And then at the end, you have your final exam. And normally with this particular class, once we've done the first half of the course, then I give you your homework and I give you like 3 weeks to work on your homework as well. All right. So then towards the end, obviously we talk about how it's going to be taught to you by the teachers. So, you know, these course plans obviously vary from course to course. And then at the end here, as you can see, in kind of answer to your question, in this particular course, you've got your midway exam, which is worth 40%, your final, which is worth 40, and the homework is worth 20. All right. But as I say, it's not the same for each course, but you'll get presented this at the beginning of each particular course, and it will explain to you the breakdown of the different exams and homeworks and stuff like that.
Okay.
Right,
yeah. That answers my question.
That answers the question. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Any other question, guys? Any question? Do not feel shy. Whatever questions are there in your mind, please unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. No questions at the moment? At least nod your head so that we know. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of today's virtual orientation session. Starting next week, you'll be having a welcome session with Alex, and then you'll be having your classes online. The schedules will be shared with you. Meanwhile, what you can do is you can install some sort of French-speaking applications on your phone that are going to help you get started with the basic French. You can learn simple sentences. It's going to be fun. You can actually have a robot conversating with you in French. So if not, that's also fine. It's just a suggestion from my side. And yeah, I hope you, I wish you guys all the best for your classes from next week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, guys, don't worry about French. I mean, start thinking about it, absolutely, but you don't need to worry about it for online. Obviously, we're going to be teaching you in English. So, yeah, and you know, all of the tools and the software and stuff you're going to be using is going to be in English as well. So don't worry about that. As I say, just make sure make sure your computer setup is good at home for the moment. Make sure you've got a nice desk, pen and paper, guys. Yes, we live in the world of IT and computers, but you still can't beat the good old-fashioned pen and paper. So do make sure you've got a pen and paper handy. Some days when we're doing stuff that's a bit more theoretical, take notes, make sure you've got a pen and paper handy to take notes of stuff that we're doing. Equally when we're talking about stuff that we do a revision session, so it's important to take notes as to what's important to revise for the exams. So do have a pen and paper handy. Make sure you've got yourself a nice environment ready to go for your classes. Please promise me, guys, that I know everyone's got a laptop and their computer and stuff. That's good, but don't start following classes on your phones. All right. It's not impossible to do, but it's not the best way to do it. Obviously, when we're sharing our screen and we're showing you documents and PowerPoints, obviously on a mobile phone, it's really not the best thing to be doing. So, please make sure everyone's going to be following on their, on a proper computer with a good size screen. That's important. So, and listen, once I've got my phone sorted out and I've got the WhatsApp thing set up, I'll make us a group with all of us in it. What I'll probably try and do is link you up a little bit with the 4 students that are already here as well. They're great, and they're really useful for answering any questions you might have as well. And that way you can just send me questions whenever you want. And otherwise, I'll send you out some information. Obviously, the documents that I told you about. Your account should be set up with Office 365 by the end of the day tomorrow as well. And fingers crossed next week we're all ready to go on Wednesday. So.
Okay, so before we end the session, I would like to have smiling faces of everyone on my screen with a victory sign. Okay, just that I can take a nice screenshot here. Everyone. All right. Nipa, are you taking it from your side?
No, you take it.
Oh, okay. I cannot do a V while I take the screenshot. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this.
Do I have to do that?
Charanjeet Kaur, I do not see your hand. Okay. All right.
Bhumika, Alex is asking that if he can do it, then you can do that V sign and.
Okay, sure.
Do I have
great.
to do the V sign? That was what I was asking.
Okay,
so.
Let's all do it. And I don't know, my hands cannot reach two keys at the same time on my keyboard.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just doing it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, guys, have a great evening ahead. And Alex, you have a great day ahead. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
All the best, you guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Thank you for joining. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Nipa, you're going to end the session, right? Nipa, you there?
Nipa?
Well,
Who's in charge? You are, I think. Bhumika? No?
It's okay. Everyone can individually just leave. That'll also work.
All right.
No problem. Yeah.
Bhumika, should do we need to talk more now, or
I'm sorry?
is there anything you want to talk about now? Just
No, that's okay. I don't have much points to discuss with you at the moment. We'll connect if there is anything.
All right, cool.
Okay. All right, guys.
Speak to you soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.